Hello, my name is Reagan Firestone. I am Jack's behavior consultant. I've worked with Jack for about 9 years. I work with the Silver Lining Group. We provide outreach services for kids and adults on the autism spectrum. I had gotten a request to run a couple trainings for staff in Jack's group home. I know it can be really difficult to get everyone together to schedule trainings. So what we kind of decided to do was for me to run two kind of short trainings for everyone to watch. So I might be a little awkward at training via video, but I will give it my best shot. And then for the staff that works with Jack on a regular basis, on a daily basis or weekly basis even, I will get schedules and try to come in over the course of the next month or so to meet each of you individually. I might not make the overnight staff, but the rest of you I should be able to touch base with over the next month to answer any questions you have, talk about things in real time, and continue training where training is needed. So today I will be going over a couple of different trainings. I have emailed the trainings to Amanda, and she did agree to print them out and give them to you when you're completing this training, so you have all the slides. So I do this training for a lot of different people, parents, caregivers, staff, and these are pretty good in general trainings. So these aren't going to be as specific as I can get. I think it's important to note that if you're interested in more, if you want to go farther in training, that's my favorite thing. So feel free to let Amanda know or to contact me directly, and we can continue with the training series in a more in-depth manner. This is a very general training. I will make it Jack specific as I'm going through it. But again, if you are looking for more, I'm your girl. So get in touch with me. Okay. So let's get started. This first training we're going to go over, I will be going over 2 today, and you should have the PowerPoints for each. This first training is about teaching daily living skills. We're doing this one and then one about problem behavior. I think that these are kind of the easiest and most appropriate ones for us to work with today. So our goal, I think everyone's goal, is for Jack to be happy, healthy, and as independent as possible. In my job and with the staff that I work with and with his mom, we have spent a good deal of his entire life working towards getting Jack to be as independent as he can. We do that with something called ABA, or Applied Behavior Analysis. And what ABA simply is breaking down tasks that might be difficult for a person like Jack into very small, manageable steps that he can learn independently using lots and lots of prompting and lots of reinforcement. That's the basis of ABA. So he has been in some form of ABA therapy for most of his life, and all of the skills that he has been able to learn, he has learned through ABA. I know you have probably seen or heard of some staff that we still have coming in the home. We have Alex there and Angelica there, and they are both trained extensively in ABA. I am not expecting you to be an ABA master by the end of this training. That is not your job. I do understand that. But what I think everyone is looking for is for Jack to be able to maintain the skills that we have taught him and are continuing to teach him when we are not present. So I think in completing these trainings, you'll be able to kind of help us help Jack. Okay. So this first training is, about daily living skills. And we will get started. So this presentation will address what a daily living skill is, which I'm sure you're familiar, how to teach these skills, and why it's so important to acquire and maintain these skills. Jack has a lot of daily living skills, but we want to make sure that we're maintaining them. So some examples of daily living skills are any skills that are engaged in for self-care and self-help purposes. So that's toileting, showering and bathing, getting dressed, brushing teeth, washing hands, cooking a meal, paying for items at the store, cleaning up a room, and putting away dishes. And really, Jack can do most, if not all of these independently. Cooking a meal, obviously he's going to need some help, but he is able to cook meals, simple meals in the microwave. Myself or Angelica or Alex or Mom would be, I know, more than happy to show you how he's able to do these skills on his own. So he is able to do at least he's able to do all of these with some prompting. I know sometimes it can be easier to just I have 4 kids. I get it. It can just be easier to do some of these things for a person who looks like they're struggling. The funny thing about Jack in particular is that he knows that. And so he will always pretend that he cannot do something so that you'll help him. That is one of Jack's famous tricks. And so it's important that you're aware of that, so that whenever he's like looking at you like, I don't know how to brush my teeth, you can be like, no, Jack, I know your game now. You can brush your teeth. So let's go ahead and get it done. And he usually is like, oh, fine. And we'll, brush his teeth. Maybe he'll need some pointing prompts, like to show him where he needs to brush, but he's very capable of doing a lot of these skills on his own. So for children or adults with autism or other mental health diagnosis, learning basic skills in daily living can be challenging. So though challenging, these skills are essential, which is why we've worked so hard to get Jack kind of doing a lot of these skills. We in the ABA field think that they, teaching functional daily living skills are more important than academic skills. And we have worked very, very hard with Jack, because without these skills, it is difficult to live an adult life. Without skills to perform daily living tasks, this says your child, by the way, because this is often used as a parent or caregiver training. So I'll say Jack, but this will say your child. So if you're reading that, just change it to Jack. So Jack will always be reliant on another person, which we don't want. We want Jack to be able to do as much independently as he can. We'll constantly need assistance, even through the basic routines of self-care. So in order to make sure this doesn't occur, we need to teach and also maintain these skills. So skills need to be taught in the same way we would teach any other task in ABA. You break it down and you do it over and over and over and over, and you are consistent about doing it. Now, in a group home environment, that can be really difficult because there's lots of different pieces to the puzzle. There's lots of different stuff that's in and out of the home fairly consistently. So that's why one of the reasons we decided to do kind of a video training that can be shown to everybody. So most daily living skills occur in something called a chain of behavior, or a behavior chain. So the behavior chain is just simply different behaviors where the previous behavior acts as a setup to the behavior that needs to follow. That sounds a little complicated, but it's really not. It's just simply you do step 1, which then leads you to do step 2, which then leads you to do step 3, and so on and so forth. So an example of a behavior chain would be hand washing. So I know Jack is able to wash his hands, and I am running under the assumption that staff is having him wash his hands every time he uses the bathroom, and that he's doing it independently without help. But to give an example of hand washing, standing in front of the sink is the first step that sets up the next step of turning on the water. And then turning on the water is a step that sets up the next step of putting soap in your hands. And then that is a step that sets up the next step of rubbing your hands together, and so on and so forth, until you've completed the entire behavior chain of washing your hands. Another example is getting dressed. So putting on pants will set up the next step of pulling pants up. So everything that we do on a daily basis that we're just kind of attuned to, brushing our teeth, washing our hands, is actually a set of very small steps that can be taught in order to get a person, to get Jack, to be able to complete a sequence like hand washing or getting dressed or washing face. So, and then another example, taking a shower. Putting shampoo in hair acts as the next step for scrubbing. All right, so teaching behavior chains. Most of these behavior chains have already been taught to Jack, but I think this is important for you to understand how to teach them so that you're able to kind of work with Jack on maintaining those skills. So in order to teach a chain of behaviors, you break the chain down into smaller teachable components, and this is called a task analysis. You want to determine the sequence of responses, the order they need to go in, and it's specific for each individual. So one of the things that might be helpful, and I can make sure to get this to Amanda before this training is shown to you, is kind of a sequence of steps that we use for Jack in our home team. So Alex and Angelica and myself and mom and dad all do these things the same way. We all have Jack wash his face in the exact same steps every time because, again, consistency is so important. So I think it would be helpful if everyone knows the list of steps that we'll be taking for each of these daily living skills. So I will make sure to get those out to you in the next day or two, Amanda. So an example of a task analysis for hand washing looks like this. Turn on the water, wet hands, get soap, scrub, rinse, turn off water, dry hands, right? So this is what you do when you wash your hands. It's the exact same steps that I believe everybody takes when they wash their hands. It's just broken down in ways in manageable amounts of steps. So this is the task analysis that we use for Jack. And everybody doing it the exact same way should be fairly easy because it's the way most of us wash our hands, right? But it is very important. So there are all sorts of different task analysis for different skills. Task analysis of tying shoes, which we do not do with Jack at this time. Task analysis of getting dressed. A task analysis of taking dishes to the sink. Task analysis of a pre-bedtime routine. We have been working on a task analysis for Jack to do his own laundry for a long time, and he's pretty independent with it. He needs some minor prompts. It's not his favorite skill, not his favorite chore, but he's capable of doing it, and thus he should be doing it in his group home so that he's able to live as functionally as an adult as possible. And again, I don't expect you to know what he's capable of, and so I will make sure that you have access to the things that he does independently and the tasks analysis broken down as well. So there are different methods of teaching a behavior chain. One is an activity schedule, and that is just simply pictures in order of the task analysis. It can be just words if Jack can identify the word, which he actually usually can. But for Jack, we would probably do pictures. This can be a really helpful tool for you at the group home so that everyone is making sure that you're doing everything the same way because it's kind of spelled out for you in black and white. You can't miss it if it's a picture of the steps. We haven't had an activity schedule for all of his task analysis at home for quite some time. However, if you're having a hard time doing the task analysis with him and he's not responding to your prompting, this is a great intervention. Make sure that you're reaching out to me or Amanda so she can get in touch with me so that I can get something like this set up. I think it could be very helpful in this setting. So if there are some other ways of teaching a task analysis for people who are interested in a computer, and that's a PowerPoint. We haven't used that with Jack because, as I think you guys probably are aware, Jack can become obsessive over technology. So we try not to do things on the computer unless we have to. And then video modeling is a great one too. So makes the task seem like watching something on TV. This can be a very helpful tool if you're like, gosh, you know what, Jack is not doing the laundry. You can record yourself doing the laundry and show it to him. He'll probably think it's hilarious. And while he's laughing at you doing the laundry, he'll be learning the steps in the group home setting because I'm sure some of the things will be a bit different than they are at home. So an activity schedule are just simply pictures arranged in the order of the task. It can be of the actual item or just a generic picture. And it kind of references, it can help reference Jack to stay on task. So if he's having a hard time or he's doing that thing where he just kind of stares blankly at you when you know he knows what to do, you can just kind of point to the next step in the picture chain, and that should kind of prompt him to kind of get a move on. And then you always want to be ready to step in with a prompt. Jack does require some prompting for skills. He isn't completely independent with everything. And to avoid high levels of frustration, it can be important to kind of step in and help him through something when needed. So the PowerPoint, which we won't really utilize, is just simply putting each step on a slide of a PowerPoint. We'll probably avoid doing that at this time. So video modeling is again a fun one. We kind of touched over it, but I'll do it a little bit more in depth now. It can utilize his interest in watching TV, which we all know he loves. You videotape yourself or another person doing all the steps of the chain. You want to make sure when you're doing a video model that you do the steps slowly and clearly. I would probably have Alex or Angelica do a video modeling for you and have you use it with Jack at this time, just because they're pretty extensively trained. But if you are interested in making a video model, that's great. Reach out with me, reach out with Amanda, and we can set that up to make sure that you're doing the steps correctly. But I would love for you to take an interest in doing video modeling for Jack. So you want to have the video play while the client does each step of the chain. Pause if needed so they can catch up. You do not allow rewinding or fast forwarding of the video during downtime. It's used to teach a skill that is not going to occur if the same step is repeated 10 times. So that means Jack will do this with any kind of video modeling. There will be a step that he loves and a step that he does not. So Jack will want to watch the same step over and over and over. That will not be helpful to Jack. You want to make sure that he's watching the video the entire way through. So any of these methods can help you assist your kiddo, or Jack, in learning skills of daily living. They will allow him to be more independent in his life, which is, I think, the goal of everybody here. So it allows him to be less reliant on other people for simple tasks, and allows him to have the same abilities as everyone else. And Jack is so capable of doing these things that I think if everybody works together, I think everyone will see Jack really being able to live fairly functionally independent with some prompting and help. If you have any questions for me about this training, about Jack's independence level in different activities, things that you are wondering whether or not he can do, you can reach out to me. Amanda has my phone number and also my email. You can shoot me a text, give me a call, or email me. And again, with the staff that works with Jack on a regular basis, my goal is to be out and see you in person and meet you in person within the next few weeks. So I am looking forward to being in touch. All right. Thank you. Bye.